we have a good turnout tonight, and the way we go, and I think the reason why we have the big turnout, Ben, is I think everyone heard about the season swimming passes are on sale. So we appreciate it.
All right, he'll be here in 5 minutes, but we can go through the first part, which we have to procedurally.
Okay, we'll have two parts to the meeting tonight before we take the roll. And the first part will be the award ceremony, and then part two will be general business. And we'll have a little break in between in case people have other places to go. But you're welcome to stay for the whole agenda if you wish. So we will start by calling to order the Park Board meeting of January 28th, 2020. And we can start by taking the roll. Rebecca?
Davis.
Here.
Vogel.
Here.
Sayers.
Here.
Acto.
Here.
Bremner.
Here.
Potter.
Here.
Thompson.
Here.
Fowler.
Here.
Domain.
Here.
Lohmeyer.
Here.
Pugh.
Here.
Anderson.
Here.
We have a quorum. All right, and then we need to look at the agenda. And does it need to be amended or can we go as presented? So
I'll move.
okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The agenda is approved. And the next part is, Ben has always said this is his most favorite meeting of the year. He tells us that every year at this time.
Yes.
So Ben, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, I'm going to walk out to the front because this is a presentation style. I want to thank you all. I'm Ben Page, Parks and Recreation Director, for coming to our annual volunteer recognition ceremony. This is a ceremony meant to recognize different groups and individuals from last year, calendar year 2019. As you might guess, the Parks and Recreation Department requires it. We have to have volunteers to pull off our mission. We have over 75 parks, we have over 70 miles of trail, we have 3 golf courses, we have, you name it, we have something for everybody. And with that, we have 59 full-time employees. So you might guess that taking care of a park system this big takes a lot of volunteers, takes a lot of team effort. And before I jump into all of that, I would like to have Callie, Jordan, and Rachel just come up to the middle for a second. They don't want to do this, so they're behind the scenes, but they'd all come up here just for a second. There's Callie. I would put this volunteer team up against anyone in the nation. This is top-notch, top-shelf, best volunteer department. Professional connection, guys, but they just do a wonderful job. I hear each and every time that we've ever had, whether it's Wells Fargo, a cemetery project, a parks project, a youth sports. The thing that I hear back that's consistent every single time is we had the most professional experience. They took care of us. They had all the tools there. The waivers were all signed ahead of time. And they said, we're willing to come back because it's rewarding. It's beyond just giving back to our community. These three make it rewarding for us. So quickly, I'd like to thank these guys for all they do. They do such a wonderful job. So with that said, we're going to kick off. And if you've never been here or part of this, we have 7 different categories. Kelly will go through them. We'll stop at each one, we'll take a picture, and then we'll go on to the next one. All right? So up front.
And at the end, group photo.
At the end, yes, one big group photo. Thank you at the end. So without further ado,
Yep.
I'll start off.
Sure. Good evening, City Manager Scott Sanders, Mayor County, Council members, Chair Davis, members of the Parks and Recreation Board. I'm Callie Leal Courtright, Parks and Recreation Supervisor. Thank you all for your ongoing support and for joining us this evening for our 2019 Volunteer Awards. Each year we gather together to recognize our volunteers and their work throughout the city. 5,173 volunteers donated more than 32,000 hours of service to Parks and Recreation this year. Their service was valued at more than $815,000. Although our park planner, Colby Fangman, had never supervised volunteers prior to working here, he's been eager to learn and adapt. He quickly came up with ways to engage the public and encourage volunteerism. He's led multiple projects with volunteers, including a large playground build at Ashby Park. Fangman facilitated the capital side of the build, working with manufacturers and the volunteer team on planning the project. He created an organized construction process, even including color-coded toolkits and hard hats. Fangman helped train a new volunteer supervisor for the National Bicycle and Pedestrian Documentation Project, a volunteer data collection effort. He worked with the volunteer team to bring on a teacher extern this summer. The extern served hundreds of hours inventorying our parks facilities. He evaluates ways to improve and create efficiencies, resulting in well thought out volunteer projects. Fangman's creativity and pursuit to raise the bar for our volunteers shows every time. It keeps the volunteers safe, happy, and coming back. Helping present his award this evening is our Development and Planning Administrator, Jenny Richmond. Please join me in honoring Colby Fangman as our 2019 Volunteer Supervisor of the Year.
Balance it out. And
Take 5 steps to the right.
and before we take a picture, I just want to I do want to quickly just introduce our special council guests here. So we have Josh Mandelbaum, City Council. We have our Mayor, Frank County. Linda Westergaard, our newest council member, Carl Boss. The city manager, my boss. Make sure you keep doing his work. Bill Gray and Connie Bolton, all from our city council and city managers. Thank you guys for being here too.
Does he say something? Anything
Thank
to
you,
say?
Colby. Jean Schooley has helped beautify the city for almost a decade. Each year, Jean spends time in our greenhouse transplanting spring flowers to prepare them to go out to neighborhoods. More than 250,000 annuals are grown thanks to people like Jean. Year after year, she's not only helped grow them, but then Jean spends countless hours in our parks helping plant them. Jean loves to support other volunteers too, and often can be found helping other volunteer groups in her neighborhood beautifying Walnut Trace. Our staff has enjoyed her support throughout the years. Between her neighborhood beautification and greenhouse service, she's responsible for over 1,200 hours of donated volunteer time. Helping present her award this evening is Kathy Hyatt, Parks Maintenance Worker. Please join me in honoring Jean Schooley for her ongoing service, making our community a better place to live and more beautiful.
When Jean called my office to RCP, she was not wanting to take this award because she said this is more than just her that does this. But let me tell you, behind the scenes, from the stories right here from our team for greenhouses, you're one of the real reasons the greenhouse operates as well as it does from a volunteer perspective. You're there a lot. Yep, they're there too. But we can't do without you. First, wait, we got Chris Coleman here too. Where do you go? Hey, Mr. Coleman. Coleman. This is Chris Coleman is just retired as of December, but he's here all of last year, so I want him to be in our pictures as well. You're never really done yet, Chris.
Get the balance up. Yeah.
Squeeze together.
Too much weight over there.
Tight, tight. As we all know, police officers have a very difficult and time-consuming job. Yet for the past 3 years, Officer Demario Dara has found time to serve as a volunteer coach for our youth flag football leagues. During this period, he has shown great passion and sportsmanship and has instilled these qualities in his players. They were happy to see him each week, and all of the kids hung around him before, during, and after games. This season, his team went undefeated and they won the championship. Since becoming a police officer in 2015, Demario, an East High graduate and All-Stater, has volunteered to assist countless times as part of the Des Moines Police Department's community outreach programs. During his time as a football player for the Des Moines Blaze, Demario has also helped coach youth soccer and basketball and instructed at many youth football camps. As you can see here from the quotes, the parents on his teams were full of kind words, calling him impactful, fun, patient, motivational, positive, and prepared. Helping present his award this evening is Supervisor Tim Smith. Please join me in honoring him for his outstanding coaching and service to the city as the 2019 Volunteer Coach of the Year.
Before we take a picture, I wanted to say that's Chief Winder, his boss. That was nice of him to come out. Also, beyond DeMario, which this is about DeMario right now, is the fact that the police department is one of our best allies when it comes to department relationships we have. I can tell you, the police department behind the scenes don't get enough credit for all they do. They're at our community recreation centers after school on their own time, not being paid by the city to help out with kids. They're everywhere. So this is another great example of the police department giving back to our kids. Thank you.
Squeeze.
There we go. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to say that the chief said you get a raise tomorrow.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, technical difficulty. Jordan? Sorry, 1 second.
This is where George tells a joke again.
Well, I want to thank everyone for coming. It's over.
Sorry, we're gonna have to skip this. Here we go. Watchman Communities was created to watch over humanity by supporting, protecting, and preserving life, and is led by outstanding community member Locust Nyo. Locust came to us passionate and determined to create a better world for future generations. He works to instill sound morals and character traits within the youth in our community. He created a litter-free movement, and in 2019, they adopted Prospect Park. Through Locust's hard work, he organized children and their families to care for the park throughout the year. They educated youth, marched through their community, and hosted multiple fun cleanups, donating 586 hours, valued at almost $15,000 in their first year. Their dedication to enhancing and beautifying the neighborhood is amazing. Watchmen encourages people to take care of each other and our natural spaces. They exemplify our mission to help Des Moines live well, play hard, and protect the earth. We honor them for their organization, leadership, and positive presence in our parks. Helping present their award this evening is Field Coordinator Rachel Hainfield. Accepting the award tonight on behalf of Watchman Communities is Locust Nyo and Watchman Communities Youth. Please join me in honoring them as the 2019 Volunteer Group of the Year.
We'll have to get a wider than this one. Yes. Two rows. If you've never been to Prospect Park, it's one of the larger parks. So I want to thank these folks for taking care of Prospect Park. It's been challenging at times, but this group's come in and they've made it a more safe environment for us as well as a more clean environment. So thanks to this group that are there. Hold the stage.
Chief got another promotion.
I'm not qualified to do this either.
after doing the math, you know, we have 7 council members and they're all 6 here tonight. Councilmember Bill Gatto coaches a high school basketball team, so he's out coaching. He wanted to be here tonight, so he sends his regards and thanks to all the winners. So,
Sorry, we have to go backwards to go forward. Brooke Avila, Vice President of the Friends of Des Moines Parks, has served in many roles over the past 10 years, including Secretary and on the Board of Directors. Brooke has donated hundreds of hours promoting the Friends mission, advocating for more funding for parks and recreation services, and has attended countless events and activities in our parks. In Brooke's time on the Friends, the amount of funding given to the Des Moines Parks and Recreation has steadily grown in part thanks to her dedication and time volunteering. Her commitment to both the Friends and our parks has allowed countless kids to learn how to swim, supported construction of iconic facilities, and improved the overall quality of parks and trails in the city of Des Moines. We honor Brooke tonight for the significant impact she's had on our department and on our community. Please join me in honoring Brooke Avila as the 2019 Friend of the Year.
the best thing about giving Brooke an award is she wouldn't take it if we made her not come here tonight. She's behind the scenes all the time. She does take no credit for anything. So if you've ever seen the Friends of Des Moines Park and where they started and where they've been, it's because of Brooke's organization skills behind the scenes. I know we have board members and friends behind us that will say the same thing. She's kept us organized. She's kept us the money coming in, which is the most important thing. She's always there. You saw the picture. She's at all of our events, and then she's put a ton of hours in behind the scenes. That's what we're asking for.
Thank you.
You mom and dad should be up here too. Get up here.
Yeah.
Get up here.
Do you want me to take a picture?
Absolutely.
Jen, Brooke's shoes too.
Yeah, I'm writing something there too.
Right.
Wells Fargo has been a community leader for decades. They believe one of the most important contributions their team members make is using their professional knowledge, skills, and abilities to help organizations such as ours. Helping alongside us in cemeteries, hand cleaning and restoring our monuments, organizing cleanups in our parks and our gardens, pulling litter from our creeks and along our trails and our rivers, and so much more. Their volunteerism is year-round and touches every part of our department. This year, in addition to their in-kind support, Wells Fargo donated money to renovate George Whitmer Park in the heart of Des Moines. Through their philanthropy, they've strengthened our community and enhanced our quality of life. Their passion for our park system is unparalleled. Over the past 10 years, they've had more than 3,300 employees donate time with us. Their service is valued at more than $347,000. For the work they've done with us, they were chosen as the 2019 Iowa Parks and Recreation Association's Business Support Award winner. Accepting tonight's award, on behalf of Wells Fargo, are Micah Keel, Eric Idahan, Pat Green, Jason Smith, Elise Koistra-Sullivan, Jason Nelson, and Jeff Carpenter. Please join me in honoring Wells Fargo for the 5th time in 10 years as our 2019 Corporate Volunteer Group of the Year.
Pretty impressive. I wanted to say that one more time. The 5th time in 10 years that this group has won. So corporate volunteers for the year. Thank you, Wells Fargo.
You guys,
Sorry about the got it to work.
Jenny, get in here. Jenny, get in here. Too late.
Too bad, Jenny. Mike Rowley has been an outstanding volunteer over the years, but in 2019, his service was beyond measure. Rowley chaired the Citizen Cemetery Advisory Committee and helped with the governor's own regiment flag retirement project, spearheaded Wreaths Across America efforts, including recruiting veterans, finding donors, working with musicians, volunteers, and more. He's worked hundreds of hours over the years supporting our cemeteries and protecting the history within them. Rowley walks the cemetery almost daily and can be found at almost every cemetery volunteer event, from flag decoration to flag retirement. He spends countless hours supporting efforts such as the installation of the 1812 stones this year. He's a great leader, a voice for our cemeteries and our communities past. Helping present his award this evening is Cemetery Supervisor Ganesh Ganpat. Please join me as we honor Mike Rowley as the 2019 Volunteer of the Year.
I just want to say it's because of Mike's work that we've been able to really kick off a really important project at Woodland Cemetery. If you haven't been to Woodland Cemetery in a while, I urge you to go on a nice day and go for a walk now right now. You'll see that there's a lot of monuments that needed a lot of care. There's no longer family lineages left that take care of these stones. They cease to have families, or they do now, and they just don't have the right or the wherewithal to do that. Mike has been taking personal tours to preserve that history, to engage excitement about private donations to come back and restore that cemetery. So without Mike, this whole big process doesn't start. So thank you.
Thank you. Recreation has played a huge part in George Davis's entire life. His passion led to a long career teaching and coaching youth full-time. Somehow, he still found time to also work part-time in Parks and Recreation and umpire too. His first job with us was putting on t-ball clinics, working on fundamentals of hitting with 6 to 8-year-olds. George himself played in the South Des Moines Little League and remembered once he saw a sign with advice that stuck with him: "A kid in sports stays out of courts." And for more than 50 years, he's helped do just that, supporting recreation, coaching, leading, and serving. Softball, basketball, football, volleyball, track, East High, North High, Tech, and more, you name it, he's done it. Knowing George's larger-than-life personality, it should come as no surprise that he is well-loved. Inducted into the Iowa Softball Hall of Fame, honored in the North High Athletic Wall of Fame, named Conference Track Coach of the Year, winning Sporting Good Manufacturers Association Heroes Award, the list of accolades goes on and on. And for many of the same reasons we honor him tonight, parents, athletes, and coworkers use words like love, respect, excellence, leadership, a caring person, hardworking to describe George Davis. We should add to those words humble and team player. Because with each award, George always thanked his assistants and his athletes, making sure they understood how the honor was theirs and not his. Making sure that they understood he was there to support them and to teach them. George told his wife many times that he has gotten much more from those he coached in his life than he could ever give back. George once described coaching as an extension of yourself. Coaching was not just about athletics, but also teaching about life. If his students had walked away only knowing basketball or track or softball, he had failed. But if they learned that academics was just as important as athletics, that learning and loving each other was more important than winning, then he had succeeded. And to this day, George's personality reflects this as he spends his time giving back to his community, spreading joy and sharing his humor in all that he does. George Davis also described himself as lucky, working with some of the best coaches and athletes out there. And that's how we would describe getting to work with him, lucky and honored. Lucky and honored that he chose us to donate hundreds of hours to. Lucky and honored that he shares his passion for parks and recreation with us and with our community. Lucky that he agreed to step up and volunteer as a leader on our board and in his neighborhood. His passion and skills have translated well into retirement and have helped him develop one of the most active neighborhoods in the city. He's invigorated our board and increased involvement, especially in our subcommittees, as many of you know. He is a key supporter of our parks. And there isn't a meeting, a dedication, a ribbon cutting, a litter cleanup, or any community event that George Davis can't be found at. George Davis continues to demonstrate exemplary leadership in the field of parks and recreation. And tonight, we recognize his lifetime of service to our community. It has been our privilege to work with him through the years. Please join me in honoring George Davis as our 2019 Volunteer Lifetime Achievement Award winner.
You guys humbled me, that's for sure. I will say this, that this board belongs to a lot of people, starting with my family, who's always been there, and always make me show my good side. And I will tell you, do we not live in a great city? And I'm just happy to be part of it. Around the country, and we talked about different problems in the city and stuff. And they said, well, what's some of the major problems you have? And I said, well, potholes. That's, I mean, if you put everything in perspective, that's our biggest problem. I mean, we have a great council. Ben, tremendous. Kelly, thank you. That was tremendous.
You're welcome.
It's not good to get older guys emotional.
Thank you, George, for everything you do.
Before we get this picture here, I just want to let everybody know, and I don't need to hold my loud microphone. George and I have been personal friends for over 45 years. The first time we met, we were playing softball, and we had a call that didn't go our way. George come out of the stands, kicked me out of the game. It's turned into a great friendship that's never stopped. What you have done is phenomenal throughout the city. And I don't believe I've ever seen you get verklempt, but you're starting to,
What's that mean?
you're cheering up, man. But what George has done for this city cannot be duplicated by anybody else. This award is just a small token of all you've done, George. I can't tell you how much we all sitting here appreciate, and it's your family. Look at this. I mean, this is fantastic. Everything that you've done has been for the good of the city of Des Moines. So this is just a small token. What you've done, keep it going.
Thank you, buddy. Thanks for
There's a George Davis that not many of you get to see. If you saw George when he was still working for us, you'd see a George Davis was one of the most compassionate men I've ever met. I've personally seen him give people rides to services they couldn't get to, that he needed to get to. I've seen him write his own checks, pull his cash out of his wallet to make sure this kid at 4 Mile, this kid at Pioneer Bloom has got to eat that night. I've seen him make phone calls to make sure people were taken care of. Beyond what he did for Parks and Recreation, this is one of the most compassionate men I've ever worked with. I want to tell you thanks as a friend and as a leader, and we are honored tonight to give you this award. And so thank you on behalf of this board, which we also have one of the greatest boards in the city. I'll brag right now, the Park and Recreation Board. We would be here down the middle. I know you guys all want to take a picture of this, but let George's family, which is a lot, come up and take a picture of George.
Yes.
And then we have a quick 2-minute video to play, and we'll let you know some more cookies, all right? So quickly, we'll take this picture of Councilman George, and then the next is
No. Means nothing if you're not here.
Come on, Sandy.
Come on.
Get your wife in this picture, yes.
This is my trophy wife of 52 years.
Well, here, let's just get Sandy this first picture, then we'll get the rest of the family in the big pictures. Fit them all in here. We're gonna get Sandy first, and then we'll get you guys in the next picture.
She's a session staff too.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Not
that good at Photoshop.
We're both by height.
Okay, he's high.
Okay.
Let's get George's family, go to George and Alice.
Yeah.
Let's get another picture of that George's family. Come on.
I'll tell you, I'm very lucky. I have 5 grandkids, and they all live within 4 blocks of me. How lucky is that? And then last time my son, well, these are my 3 children, but my son flew in from Washington, D.C., and I said, my goodness, what are you here for? I get an award tomorrow. And he said, well, why do you think I did? Where's Jody? Come on up, Jody.
Everybody? Look up here.
Oh, good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, George. After the video.
I got you. She's all off the, say, let her finish.
Oh, you can keep going, it's okay. Chair Davis, members of the Parks and Recreation Board, thank you for your continued support and your volunteer service to our city and department. And thank you to Director Page and all of our Parks and Recreation staff for their incredible help supporting our volunteers throughout the year and welcoming them into everything that we basically do. A big thank you to my volunteer team, Rachel and Jordan. Without you, this wouldn't be possible. Once again, thank you to all our award winners and all of our volunteers that have served our city. As Director Page mentioned, we'll leave you tonight with the highlights from the past year, and we look forward to an amazing 2020. if everybody could come up for the group photo.
Group photo, all
quick,
the
and then we'll
award
take a break.
winners just by themselves, or if you're a group, bring your group up, and you will take a quick picture, and then you guys can finish off those cookies for us.
Are you enjoying that? A little more time, free time to yourself?
I'd like to have you guys come down. Come on down. I'd like to have
I know.
you over here, George. No. Let's do it. Board winners, and then once you guys-
Flat space to get all of us in there, plus all them.
Absolutely. What time? No, no. It's okay. We'll do it later.
Scooch, every other row.
Tell us, you want us to go over something?
Turn to the middle and squeeze in.
You know what? You want to stand right here.
Is it tight enough? Find a window.
You were on the train for 3 years.
I know if I think if I move this lever, it's going to drop it down, and I can drop it down lower, and I don't torque it lower.
It's not that comfortable.
So switch.
It just looks good. It looks good.
Thanks for coming, Carl.
I'll be there. No. But I leave, because I chair that when I leave here at like 10 after 6.
Park board, if you could come down for a photo, please. Park board. Calling park board volunteers.
Coming.
Follow directions. They want to my picture taken.
I don't want my.
Yes, because you're all volunteers.
Come on down. Hey, guys. Just for tonight, many people think you listen to
We're not that good at actors and actresses.
I know.
Yeah, I like it.
I'm done on there.
We'll take about a 5 or 6 minute recess, and then we'll start up part 2. that was a great presentation. Kelly did a good job, and I feel so honored. I feel so honored to work with each and every one of you. You guys are the most dedicated people in the world, and if you're ever going to be on a board, Park and Rec is the way to go. You know what? We need to approve the minutes. We haven't met for 2 months.
A year.
My goodness.
Just last year, yeah.
Yeah, last
So let's approve the minutes, or look at the minutes and see. That's been moved?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I just noticed on page 2, under the 19094, Potter left at 5:35 p.m. And then the next item was seconded by Potter, and I was not clear about how that, I just wanted to make sure. Yeah.
He's everywhere.
Catch.
So I just wondered,
Okay.
I'm new to the board, but
He called us on the way home. Teasing, I don't know how that happened.
Rebecca, can we straighten that up?
Yeah, we've got it recorded, so we'll go back and correct
Okay.
that. We'll just make the right correction. Good catch.
Nice catch. Really. Okay, anything else on the minutes? You're on, Andrea.
Well, the people who originally motioned are
Oh,
chairing.
I'll move the amended.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Let's go to board action. Ben?
Thank you. So, as we updated chapter 74 last year, again, thank you for your help on that. One of the things to clean up was we could bring you the swimming pool season all in one meeting. And why that's important is this is the time of year that we're building the marketing materials that go out, and we have to print on production on that and put the word out with lifeguards and set season dates. So, what you have in front of you is the action, and I believe that Laura will run you through a little bit here, and Tim Smith too from our team.
Chair Davis and members of Parks and Recreation Board, I'm Laura Murphy, Parks and Recreation Supervisor. I'm here with my colleague Tim Smith to propose the 2020 Aquatics operating schedule. There are a variety of different aquatic facilities in our system. We have swimming pools and aquatic centers. Ashworth and Birdland are our swimming pools with water depth between 4 feet 6 inches and 13 feet. Nahas, Northwest, and Teach Out are our aquatic centers with zero depth entries that go to a maximum water depth of 5 feet and all have multiple areas of activity. We have wading pools, which is a small pool with standing water and no spray features. We have splash pools, which is a splash pad with standing water and spray features. And we have Spraygrounds, which is a splash pad with spray features without standing water. The proposed season dates for 2020 are Saturday, May 30th through Sunday, August 16th. The hours of operation will be Monday through Saturday, 1 to 6:30 p.m. and Sunday, 1 to 5. We are also proposing that we open Teach Out Family Aquatic Center Memorial Day weekend, which is May 23rd through the 25th. We will have Nahas Family Aquatic Center open Labor Day weekend, which is September 5th through 7th, along with August 22nd and 23rd, 29th, and 30th. We're on a 3-year rotation between aquatic centers as they are ADA accessible. Now here's Tim Smith to talk more about our other aquatic facilities and our proposed schedules.
Before Tim begins that section of the presentation, I will tell you that the city manager did submit his operating budget to the city council. And one of those added items that we requested was the board's request to add all hours to the 5 pools. And that is in his budget, but we're still in the process. Approximately late March, we should have a final city council approved budget. But right now, the latter hours that we all arrived at are in there. But that would not start until calendar year 2021. Because our budget doesn't start until July 1st. So that's some good news. Right now, the city manager took your advice and he's put it in his budget. Okay.
Chair Davis and members of the Des Moines Park Recreation Board, I'm Tim Smith, Park and Recreation Supervisor. I'm here to talk to you about the 2020 wading pool season. Wading pools are located in 7 parks throughout the city and are a free and convenient way to stay cool during the summer months.
Oh, Tim and I were talking about Drake Park and Bates Park. As you know, the Kelly family, Dan and Mary Kelly, have made a great donation to ourselves for 2 new Spraygrounds. Those will be under construction this year. If all goes as planned and the bid coming back within our budget, one of the things that we wanted to direct attention to is at Bates Park, that Sprayground will go in the exact same location as the wading pool. So that one cannot open right away because the contractor will start that process. At Drake, there is a potential, and I stress potential, that we could keep Drake open for maybe a few weeks, maybe the whole summer. We don't know yet because the new Sprayground goes in a different part of that park. However, you'd run into complexities when you start, connecting the new water lines and disconnecting the old water lines. Until we have an approved bid and we meet with the award-winning contractor to talk about their schedule and talk about logistics, we won't know that answer. So we have the best intentions as staff to keep that one going just because it's in a different location of the park. As long as that doesn't affect the operation, we'll keep it going as long as possible. We'll do our best job of updating the neighborhood associations, using social media, using every avenue we can to tell people that when it's going to close and why it's going to close. But I wanted to start here with this board to say our intentions are to keep Drake open as long as possible. Maybe the whole summer, maybe no. We don't know yet.
The staff is proposing that wading pools open on June 1st and close August 12th, the day before the state fair begins. We also propose that 6 of the 7 pools operate Monday through Friday from 10 to 4, and that Jordan Pool operate noon to 6 on Wednesdays and 10 to 4 on the remaining weekdays. Splash pools are one of our department's most popular facilities, with tens of thousands attending each summer. Children of all ages love the splash pool's combination of spray features and standing water. Staff is proposing that the 4 splash pools open on Memorial Day weekend, Saturday, May 23rd, and that Carvaro and Martin Luther King splash pools remain open through August 19th, while Ashby and Union remain open through September 6th. We also propose that the splash pools operate 10 to 7 Monday through Friday and weekends from noon to 6. In recent years, the city has increased the number of Spraygrounds in the parks. The most recent Spraygrounds added were at Sheridan and Tower Parks, which both opened last May. Drake and Bates Parks are next to add spray features, scheduled to open in the spring of 2021, bringing the total to 15. Staff is proposing that Spraygrounds operate from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. May 1st through September 30th, depending on the weather. No matter the time of day, the Spraygrounds are always filled with happy kids. Before concluding, I'd like to thank the Friends of Des Moines Parks and Variety for their continued support of our aquatics program. We are very grateful for their 2019 donation in the amount of $15,270. This year's funds will once again be used to provide scholarships for swim lessons. From aquatic centers to playgrounds, Des Moines offers a wide variety of options that help ensure the aquatic needs of our residents are met. This concludes our presentation. I'd like to thank Laura for joining me tonight, and now we can answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
I have a question, Tim, and that is, I think last year, Ben, or maybe the year before, you made an adjustment because of the severe heat or something. Am I right there or wrong? So moving forward, I'd like to have us still leave that discretion to the director. I can't remember what it was. It was something regarding high heat.
Yeah, I have the discretion through code as well as just my best judgment call to extend hours here and there. There's a little bit of play in the budget for that, and we always err to the side of caution when it gets extra hot out, so our systems have a place to cool off. That could be a community recreation center, it could be an aquatic facility, but yes, that does help with that.
Thank you.
Questions? Okay, thank you, Tim. Well, we've heard the proposal for 2020 and absolutely looking into the future a little bit for 2021. So, any comments? Then we'll entertain a motion. Motion's been moved and seconded. Rebecca, would you please call the roll?
Davis.
Yes.
Vogel.
Yes.
Bacto.
Yes.
Brandner.
Yes.
Potter.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Woodard.
Yes.
Fowler.
Yes.
Johann.
Yes.
Olmeyer.
Yes.
Hugh.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Motion carries. We'll move to the receive and file section.
So next, this is an item that we don't usually bring back for board actions. I want to remind you on that. We have a working relationship with the city manager to inform this board and to inform him. And he takes that jurisdiction approval with a 5-year warranty, if you will. Every 5 years he has to renew his luxury, let me approve these waivers of fees. So you can see Chapter 74 allows me to waive fees for certain reasons. You can see all the fees that we've waived. The majority are neighbor associations using our parks, which I think is a wonderful use of waiving fees. It's not perfect science, but it's supposed to be as best as we can use the judgment call from the language within that letter. So I would entertain any questions you have regarding any of the fee waivers we had. All these folks, if they weren't a neighborhood association, were providing a free service in our parks.
Questions?
Move to receive and file.
Second?
Second.
It's been motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? We will receive and file.
All right, the second to last item we have tonight is a direct result of the comprehensive plan that we all adopted. As you know, George will end the meeting always asking all of you to report on your subcommittees. I'm proposing to add a new subcommittee that came from the comprehensive plan. And without further ado, without giving away the great work that Richard and Matt have done, I'll let Matt kind of kick off why we're asking you to approve this and what it's all about.
Thank you, Ben. Chair Davis, members of the Park and Recreation Board, Matt Kalsevich, Recreation Manager. Thank you for the opportunity to share information with you about our proposal for the addition of a Recreation Subcommittee. A reminder, as Ben also indicated, the LIV DSM Park and Recreation Comprehensive Plan was the motivation and part of the inspiration for bringing you this information tonight. That was to replace the Parklands document as our guiding document now for the department. Adopted back in December of 2018, there were 5 goals that have very much been part of our discussions about any and all programming and initiatives as part of the department. And this was one of the recommended first steps. A reminder about those goals, and we certainly like to have these be prominent in most of our discussions and bring this back to the community anytime we can, that equity, attraction, heart, nature, and innovation are really part of what's leading a lot of our discussion and assessment today. The Recreation Subcommittee and the creation of such was a key recommendation of the attraction goal. Now, the board has the ability to have standing subcommittees, of which we have 4 now. Many of you have either served on or are currently serving on those subcommittees, so this would live very much in that same model. Some of the goals for this subcommittee in particular would be to review and provide advice on program offerings, locations, and fees. Ensure programming helps to further the goals of LIV DSM. Certainly, again, trying to have those be a prominent part of any initiative or discussion with the community. Provide ideas for potential new programs. Propose changes to current and planned programs. Review program brochures and provide recommendations to increase participation, or offer suggestions and options to reach underrepresented communities. The composition of the Recreation Subcommittee in our current proposal would be 9 members, and membership is intended to represent the community as a whole. And I'll get to a slide here in a moment with kind of our target on trying to achieve that goal within the subcommittee concept. It would be a requirement of committee members to be a resident, and the meeting frequency would be about 4 to 6 times per year. That's very much in line with the subcommittees that we have in place today. We're exploring maybe a new model where there might be several meetings in the first part of the year before our peak programming season, and then several meetings after, so that people can be part of the planning process, the assessment process. We'll have the season to really experience and absorb, and then we'll come back and assess that and gear up for the next season and see if that might be an appropriate cycle for this subcommittee. Yet to be finalized, but some of what our discussions are. Looking specifically at the members and what we're trying to create here in terms of a diverse cross-section of the community representing all interest in terms of recreation and programming opportunities, we are first and foremost recommending that we have a single Park and Recreation board member be part of the subcommittee. Then we would have 3 residents at large. And then that next list there that you see, we would be looking to have 4 of those 8 categories. And again, these 8 categories don't necessarily capture every aspect of our community, but from a staff standpoint, our discussions led us to a list that we think would produce a, again, diverse and unique perspective as part of this group. We also are recommending that we have a youth representative. So this would be someone under 18 to have that voice be part of discussions. We do also have a youth representative as part of our Citizen Golf Advisory Committee. The unique aspect here that we're recommending for the Recreation Subcommittee is that this would actually be a voting member as well.
I'll pause you there just for a second. This is a slide that we worked on with our colleagues at the Des Moines Civil and Human Rights Division of the city department. And so helping us better understand our community and the right terminology to use when classifying potential committee members. So I want you to know that there is some science behind all of this, how we look at assembling this committee.
Thank you. Share a little bit of the timeline moving forward. We're happy and interested in having some discussion, obviously, with you about the concept here tonight. But moving forward in February, our hope is to have a potential approval and official activation of the subcommittee with a receive and file of the projected or planned bylaws in March, with the acceptance of those, approval in April, then subcommittee appointments in May, with the option of obviously working into June with that, and our ultimate goal of having the first Recreation Subcommittee meeting in July of this year. I will go ahead and hand out some of our committee applications. So if there are some people out there that you think might be interested in serving in this specific capacity, I'll go ahead and hand these down. Feel free to take one. If there's some left at the end, I'll collect these back. These end up coming back in to Rebecca and being passed along to the appropriate person. There's actually a spot. This is our universal application for anybody who might be interested in any of our other subcommittees as well. So I definitely want to bring this to you tonight just to continue to promote and recruit for all of the things that the Park and Recreation Board cares for as far as subcommittee inclusion is concerned.
We can have Rebecca can email that out to you too, because I know how it is to want to just forward that email on. So this is not being presumptuous that you're going to approve this next month, but it's the idea of other committees might need help too to start a waiting list if we need to have a waiting list to be in these committees.
Thank you for the opportunity to share information about our concept regarding the Recreation Subcommittee. I'd be happy to try and answer any questions you have or address any concerns at this time.
I was just curious, when you say programming, I mean, how broad is this? Is this talking about just programming that is staffed directly by the city, and this include like all the sports activities and all? I mean, what's the scope? What do you mean by program?
That's a great question. So what we're trying to accomplish with this committee is to see if we're really hitting the mark. The demographic is always changing. We've seen a bigger shift in the recent decade than we've seen in a long time in our demographic. So we look at this group as a lot of different things. As the most simplest is help us market. Help us make sure and what's the best way to market? There are some groups that don't use email or social media. Also, are we providing the right activities? It's hard to get input on some things. Again, going out to the different cultures, we hope they can tell us that, hey, we have a crowd court in Evergreen Park, for example, over by Fairway on the southeast side. Is there enough capacity and desire for a crowd league? That's one example. Are there other games we don't know about today that are starting to become very popular because of that different demographic moving in? So help us understand if we're hitting the mark. If we're not hitting the mark, what should we put in a spot? Help us market, help us get the word out. Anything they can do, kind of like you all do. You're an advisory board. This will be an advisory committee to help us. And there'll probably be a time we talk fees. What's the right fee for something like, again, a crowd league? Is it $20 a team or is it $5? Things like all the other committees are doing for us. But it's kind of a sounding board at first. And I have full belief that this will be an evolution group. It'll evolve at first. So we'll have to kind of find our way through this. It's not been done in other places. We were looking for a good example. We've been creating the wheel, if you will, on this one, writing bylaws behind the scenes already, and we're gonna presume you like this idea. Obviously, it wouldn't be in our comp plan, you wouldn't have voted for the comp plan if you didn't like this idea. But we do want, and we need to know what you don't like and do like about it, so we can tweak it before now and next month. Good question. Any concerns from anybody on this?
I was just curious what the outreach for the membership, what that would look like, because it says bring forward proposed members to the March meeting, and if you're wanting underrepresented populations on this committee, how do you anticipate that?
So we're gonna require two things. One, homework for all of you. That's your role as a board member. Two, we've been working again with that Des Moines Human and Civil Rights Department. They have already made great inroads into the different demographics and populations of the city. They're doing their own big lift right now. I just lost the name of the big event they're doing that's been going on. You know what it is, Richard? You've probably seen it in the paper. I just lost the name of it.
Symposium?
Yes, it's Bridging the Gap. You've heard of that, right? They've been doing Bridging the Gap series throughout the last 18 months and all over the city. So we're going to lean on them a lot to help us propose people. But just like the other committees, we ask you folks to say yes. The difference here will be you won't get nickel to dime onesie twosies. You're going to get the first time around probably a handful, the next time around another handful, so we can get started. If there's ideas that we're not hitting, let us know. But again, kind of going into this blindly a little bit about how do you recruit and how do you not recruit. We have some ideas, but if you have ideas, we're open to those as well.
What I can tell you about the initial concept we're sharing with you, and I had the privilege of sharing the information with you tonight, but Assistant Director Richard Brown did much of the research, and there was several concepts nationwide that were kind of the basis for the formation of what we're sharing with you now. And it's, again, to Ben's point, we've talked about that there has to be a starting point, but there'll inevitably be an evolution, and there'll be some things we're sure emerge as maybe some of the most significant or important. And some of that may be based on the makeup of the committee and some of the people who actually do end up committing their time to the concept. But we're excited to see what that looks like. I think Ben obviously hit one of the biggest things on the mark with advocacy and marketing and support and education about opportunities that are made available through the city. One of the things that we hope is really highlighted quite a bit through the committee and their outreach potentially is the new scholarship program and access to that and the growth of that. So there's a lot of layers here to be explored, and I think it's just an exciting option and opportunity for us to have this additional layer of connection to the community.
And we don't need it today because we don't know what your ending vote will be in a month from now, but be thinking, if you're interested as a board member, we're going to ask you to have a board member work through George to propose to be on this committee as well, like we have other board members on other committees.
We're casting a very wide net here on participants, and that's good. What is the term limits on these?
It will, again, live in a similar model to some of the other subcommittees. We'll have 3-year terms, but again, in a concept to just try and have an equal rotation of the 9 board members that start with us, or committee members, if you will. There'll be some on a 1-year term, some on a 2-year term, some on a 3-year term, so we're not turning over all 9 board member or subcommittee members at the end of the first rotation, if you will. But then everybody would be eligible for a second 3-year term or an additional 3-year term to try and create a natural stagger or rotation as we do and have that rhythm with most of our other subcommittees.
I'm glad to see that we have the youth under 18 one member, but here's the thing, and Joel, I'm sure you may agree. I'm wondering if we need to expand that more, and I certainly don't know if a 3-year term for youth is a good term. Maybe that ought to be yearly.
Absolutely.
Or semester wise,
potentially.
because that way we'll get a wider vision.
And the concept there is very much that it's a leadership opportunity. So to your point, to have it be something where more can rotate through on that, happy to have that be a modification. Thank you.
Yeah, but I like that. I was thinking the same thing. I wonder if you would think about maybe reaching out to each of the high schools, so that would be 5, and having a representative from each high school. Maybe, I don't know.
That makes it pretty big.
I thought about that, but my only concern in doing that is we struggle for quorums, and if they don't show up, because 5, you add 4 more to the 9, gives you 13.
Okay.
And then if you have, let's say, 3 of them not show up and 2 others not show up, you can't have an official meeting. Now, that being said, I think you're onto something with it rotating quicker through. Another thing is, there's nothing that stops them, if we could still reach out to the schools and have them be non-voting members. One would be, I like one, because I tested this with my own daughter who's a sophomore. And she's like, Dad, why would I sign up if I really don't get a vote? What's in it for me? No offense, that's what kids think,
Yeah,
like. And
absolutely.
So maybe there's a way to, we'll go back to the drawing board, but maybe there's a way to add a youth piece to this too, that's
I
more
think-
than it is today.
The idea of like,
Turn it over.
across the city, you know, that representation, and also, for the committee members, will they be from different areas of the city, or how?
It's really the luck of the draw. So when I looked at this list, we're already casting the biggest net we can
Okay, yeah.
for
You are.
being a demographically wide speaking group, but we might just get lucky and we might not. We might get most of those folks from one ward and we'll try not to. That'll be our goal with you, and you can look at it and also help us and say, well, there's too many Ward 3s here, Ben, and for whatever reason, please go back to the drawing board and find us some more people. That'll be up to you guys.
So moving forward, what I'm hearing you say, and Matt, what I'm hearing you say is basically, you're gonna do a little more homework on that youth situation.
There were a couple other concepts out there
Okay.
that have been in place. And there's sometimes a senior youth member that had been part of the board or the subcommittee previously, and a junior member comes in to kind of learn under them, and then there'll always be two, but one is the voting position and one is the learning position. So there's a couple other things we can present, absolutely.
And it doesn't have to be the stud athlete of the school, you know, because there's a lot of kids that want to participate, but they don't
Absolutely.
feel they're good enough to be on the varsity of something.
Yeah.
Yep, you'll see the applications, they'll come through. Sorry, I didn't pass
Yes.
it down.
Oh,
Yep, so you'll be able to see what they can all bring to the table.
okay.
I'd like to make a motion to receive and file this report.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made to receive and file the Recreation Subcommittee information that we've had. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We will receive and file it.
Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Next, thank you, Matt. Next on the agenda is, thank you, John. And next on the agenda is the end of season video.
Yep. I'm sure you're going to pull it up. I thought it was loaded for us. This is the video that we sent out to you all. It should be on, okay. It should be uploaded. I didn't know that you'd all see this, but again, it's also nice to play it for the viewing audience on Channel 7. I always like this meeting again for two reasons. The award banquet tonight was very well done, and I want to again congratulate Callie. And then last but not least, it's always good to look back at all the people we helped last year, have a great time, and make a difference in our park system. Rebecca's going to help load this real quick here.
Did you say this is also on the YouTube?
Yep, so
Okay.
this is on YouTube and on our social media channel, and I emailed it out. I hopefully.
Did we see this on?
This was the one with the football.
Yeah.
Year review.
Yeah.
Yes. But it's all about all the things we did last year. This should make you feel good about all the things you helped us accomplish last year as a board. It's 5 minutes long, and then we'll get you out of here. But I think we're ahead of pace. Actually, I thought we'd be here a little hours.
That was quick and that was good, man.
That was good. That's what we asked for.
And your staff did a good job on those presentations.
Said it 100 times. We have the best
did a
staff we
great
could ever ask
job.
for here. Oh, it's that big square, guys, at the top you gotta hit. It probably takes the director to figure this out. I'll be right back, so.
Do you have room in your budget for an AV person?
It might be. Did it just die by itself?
No. Where are you caucusing at?
Why don't we miss it?
What's that?
Pull back up where we just did.
We didn't see that. There was nothing called.
Where are we just gonna, up there, we gonna start to play it?
Oh, you just want us to go to YouTube?
Go to YouTube.
Is it the downtown area? The real concern is really.
I hope it brings ideas and we're just, you know, that's the thing I'm concerned about.
Never worked about it.
It should look like, it's the football background.
You put on our park board meeting.
Yeah, they're on there. The city does that.
I'd like to watch the park board meeting.
You can.
In the park board meeting.
You can. Sorry, everybody, there it is, scroll, yep, right there, the green one, right there to the left. Yep. Yep. Thank you. always good to end that way.
Very nice.
Another big year in front of us, but I want to thank all of you and just again say how lucky this city is to have this board and this staff. We have a tremendous, passionate group here between you and the staff out there. And, you know, I see my picture there way too many times. They do all the work. I think you already know that. So it's good to have them on this team. Back to you now for your reports.
Okay, and Ben, by the way, I think we're very fortunate to have you as a director, and I'm not just sucking up. I mean that. Your staff.
Gave you the award, George.
I know, when I won it 5-4 vote. But your staff is tremendous, and I was just, you know, as I perused this, I saw this earlier. Do you realize how many different lives we touch in Park and Rec? We do touch a ton of lives. You know, we do. My goodness. Okay, Andrea?
Yes, so we actually met just on the 16th. We recapped our Whitmer Park tour and heard a little bit more about how that's going. We talked about the Waveland Golf Deer Passage, Ewing Park inventory and maintenance plan, and then the county soccer open area discussion from 2018, so revisited that. Anyway, that was our meeting. We meet again on February 20th.
Thank you. Sam?
We haven't had a meeting, and I don't know when the first one is.
Pat, do you know the first one is? It's March or
When is the first meeting?
February.
February?
Next month.
That's normal. The golf committee will take a hiatus during the off season here, so it's coming back up though. Get your clubs cleaned up.
Yeah.
Joel?
We met Wednesday, January 8th at 4 o'clock, and we approved the minutes. We talked about the nominating process. We're in the process of bringing in new members for the Citizen Cemetery Advisory Board. We finished up with the Wreaths Across America and started the planning process for next year, and we are currently looking at Chapter 74, I can't remember.
34.
Chapter 34
Yep.
of Rules and Regulations. Our next meeting is March 4th.
Okay, great. Sarah?
The Trails and Greenways Committee met on December 9th. We had a great discussion on these new e-scooters and what that might look like, and on our trails and don't.
No, after you.
Okay.
I forgot something.
And then we also started talking about where I'm going to break into subcommittees so that we can kind of address some of these other issues more individually. So that's about it.
Can I bump in? Just as a note that I almost forgot to mention, that some exciting news on behalf of the Friends of Des Moines Parks.
Yeah.
They've just hired their first executive director, none other than Sarah Momeyer. So in the history of the program, we never had an executive director. It's a big leap forward for them. They've never had a paid staff, so it's a part-time gig. And I always describe all of you like this: is we know that we might pay her for 20 hours a week. We're still going to get a lot more from Sarah out of the deal. So I'm excited to see what this does for the Friends of Des Moines Parks. They've done a great job of raising funds. Now they have somebody that's actually going to be organizing them further behind the scenes and taking them to the next level. Sarah's that person. So.
Well deserved. Joel, you had an additional comment?
Yes, I did forget. I'd like to submit to the group a list of the historic tours at Woodland Cemetery. The 2020 dates are published.
We'll email us out. We have this. We'll email it out to you. Yep. Good idea.
Okay, anything else? Laura, did you want to say about Laura? She did a great job.
Laura, if you just didn't notice, she said a different last name from last time you saw her, so she found somebody to marry her in the last couple of months.
Congratulations. We knew you could. We knew you could.
Say it like that.
She's also
moving. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I almost forgot that. I thought you meant the bigger thing that happened in her life. But
Well, this is the biggest thing.
no good deed goes unpunished in this department, so we had an opening in special events, which that's where Laura's passion and heart is, and that's where she started her career at. So she's gonna, unfortunately, when she did a great job in Aquatic, I think you already know that, she's gonna slide over where Barb Baker was, who's retiring at the end of this week, and roll right into special events. And that's why we've been recruiting for an aquatics manager. And we had over 100 applications, and now we're sifting through those. Hopefully we'll have somebody here before we open these pools up, right? So that's the goal, and you'll see a little more of Laura in special events. Thank you for reminding me.
Laura, you did a great job, and we're going to miss you. I know a lot of times when it's 90 degrees out and you have a disgruntled parent and you hit them with that radiant smile and you cool the situation, and we are definitely going to miss you. You did a great job. Okay. Okay, anything else? Hey, one suggestion, I think Ben ought to have cookies and stuff at every.
Just send it in your budget request next year to the city manager, and I'll ask him.
Anything else? Ford, you're the greatest. Thank you. Entertaining a motion?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Congratulations, Coach.